Well, hey, bit of good news we've got here. India cuts tax on plant-based milk and meat to make vegan food more accessible. Sounds like a win. The Indian government's latest tax reform has brought plant-based meat and milk alternatives closer to parity with animal proteins. In a major win for the future food sector, India's overhaul of its tax framework will narrow the gap between animal proteins and plant-based meat and milk. The Goods and Services Tax Council approved the reforms announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi last month, designed to enhance the quality of life of every last citizen. The move covers a wide range of products across industries like food, cosmetics, homeware, electronics, medicines, and transportation. Okay, interesting. So it's not specific to meat alternatives. Among these are vegan meat and milk alternatives, which are now taxed the same way as packaged animal meat and milk beverages. Okay, so it's getting to tax parity with animal products in this case. Again, it's still progress from being taxed more than the animal products, which, by the way, this has been fixed in India, but this is still the case in many European countries. In many places, meat and dairy are considered part of the essential basket of goods or whatever, right, and have a lower rate of VAT or no VAT in many cases. Whereas just because plant-based alternatives are newer, basically, they are not grandfathered into that list of tax-free essentials. But they really should be. And particularly if you look at the reasons why you would want to tax or subsidize things, right? All of them go in favor of plant-based alternatives: lower emissions, better health outcomes, better outcomes for public health, as well as personal health, I mean. Bunch of other environmental indicators pointing in the right direction. So to have the higher tax on the plant-based products really is backwards. GST is a destination-based tax system that replaced indirect taxes like VAT and service tax across India in 2017 under Modi's first term as Prime Minister. Until now, soy milk, texturized vegetable proteins, a common ingredient in meat analogues, nuts and prepared fruits and vegetables have carried a GST rate of 12%, and other plant-based meat alternatives have incurred an even steeper 18% tax rate. At the same time, fresh cow's milk is not taxed, and most fresh meat either has a 5% levy or none at all. With the new reforms, the GST rate on all plant-based milk, meat alternatives, and other vegan foods will be 5%. Okay, so that's interesting. It looks like it's going to actually still have a higher rate of tax than cow's milk, although, a big cut from their perspective, which is great, but still higher than cow's milk, which is still in the wrong direction. And then the same as some fresh meat, and then others is also taxed at 0%. So again, the average rate of tax is still going to be lower on animal meat. So this is one of those things where it's going in the right direction. The tax on the animal product alternatives have got lower, but there is a long way to go, right? Even to get to parity for taxes on these different goods. This puts them on par with several other animal proteins, which have also received a tax cut to 5%. This includes beverages containing milk, butter, ghee, and dairy spreads, cheese, as well as sausages and preserved meat and seafood. Okay, so it looks like some dairy, it does have that 5% tax still in India. Even nutritional yeast and microbial proteins stand to win from the GST changes, with inactive yeast and single-cell microorganisms both seeing GST rates lowered to 12% to 5%. Nice. Tax cut on nooch. The considerable reduction in GST rates for plant-based foods is poised to increase accessibility to alternatives such as plant-based dairy and soy-based plant-based meat. Soy-based, plant-based. Asta Gar, senior regulatory policy specialist at the Good Food Institute India, told Green Queen. As the effect of these reductions trickles down to consumers by making them more affordable, we remain enthusiastic about how this progressive move by the government will positively expand the consumer base for plant-based foods, which has previously been a significant challenge, she added. The tax shift is a welcome move for the plant-based industry in India, which still faces labelling restrictions and has been previously attacked by an ad by dairy producer Amul and Mother Dairy, which claimed plant-based milks were not milk. Okay, this is the Indian version of the labelling debacle, of which there's been several iterations in various different countries. The Advertising Standards Council of India struck down 3 petitions against the dairy giants. So they were upheld in that case, it sounds. The new tax regulations are set to come into effect on September 22nd this year, and they align with the growing demand for plant-based food in the world's most populous country. Yeah, this is big news in the world's most populous country, right? This is plant-based tax cuts in the country with the most people in the world. So this is pretty bloody good news. Although, as we've seen here, there still is some way to go even then. There is still higher rates on average on the plant-based things than on the animal things, which is still backwards. So the new tax regulations, oh yeah, we read that, okay. Despite only 11% having given plant-based meat a go and 23% having tried milk alternatives, more Indians want to increase their intake of vegan meat analogues, 43%, than conventional meat, 36%, and 2 in 5 want to cut back on the latter. The market for vegan food grew by 18% between 2021 and 2024. Well, that's good news. That's higher than you would see in the UK, Europe, I believe. It's expected to expand 18-fold in the next decade. Bloody hell. Can that be right? 18-fold in the next decade? With plant protein set to be woven into everyday meals and snacks, attracting a wider audience beyond vegans. Geez, this is in the largest country in the world. 18-fold in the next decade. That's unheard of. This would be helped by the... So normally we see stuff like that, it's like... I think I saw one recently that projected 140% increase by 2030. It's like a 1.5-fold, right? Or a 2.5-fold, I guess it would be. 18-fold is mental. This is extremely good news if true, extremely big if true for the plant-based sector. This will be helped by the fact that 60% of Indians suffer from lactose intolerance, and 60%, and 37% want to add more plant proteins to their diets. Protein content and health are the most influential drivers of plant-based food consumption in the country, but affordability is among the biggest barriers, with a quarter of Indians saying oat milk and the like don't offer value for money. This is why the GST reforms are so important. It should not be taken for granted or be seen as a given, said Abhi Rangan, a chief business officer at Senara and former CEO of plant-based dairy brand One Good. This has been the result of stakeholders in the movement working tremendously hard, continuously making representations to the finance ministry, having dialogue often and engaging throughout the need of startups in what will be one of India's most important industries. Well, that's really cool, and congratulations to all of the people who have been involved in making that happen. There's a bunch of hard work that's gone on for months and years probably before this update, which again is like the tax on these products has been cut like almost by 3/4 in some cases. I think so. They said there were 18% tax, and now they're down at 5%. It's excellent news. Yeah, really well done to all of the people who have been involved with that. That's a massive achievement. Pravir Srivastava, Executive Director of the Plant-Based Foods Industry Association, called it a progressive move that supports healthier food choices, environmental sustainability, and the growth of the plant-based industry in India. The fight to lower plant-based meat and milk taxes isn't just confined to India. Hell yeah. Government subsidies have supported livestock agriculture disproportionately across the world, And while some European countries may introduce tax parity for these products, industry stakeholders continue to campaign for the same in many others. That seems like a policy no-brainer for me. Have lower prices on the things which have better outcomes for society and lower taxes. Is well supported as well, right? Reducing taxes on plant-based products. Everyone likes that idea much more than they like the idea of increasing taxes on animal products. So well done, India, and well done to all the people who are involved in making that happen. We're reading, you know, there's months of meetings and everything else. There's lots of lobbying going on. And for the people who are, you know, skeptical about lobbying as a tactic necessarily, sometimes it's all right when it's on our side, right?